Hello, we're going to review what we worked on last week before we work on our next lesson. So we're going to solve the following proportions, and it says hint the butterfly method, which you don't have to use. It's just a tool, strategy that might help us. So I'm going to cross multiply using a butterfly wing, and in that wing I see 4.2x. So I'm going to multiply them. That's why it's called cross multiplying. The butterfly body reminds me to drop down the equal, and then I'm going to cross multiply using another butterfly wing. Inside that wing I see 6 times 14. So the butterfly helps us set up the cross multiplication. Next, I'm going to multiply 4.2 times x. We prefer to write it as 4.2x without the parentheses. And 6 times 14 is 84. Now we're ready to solve this. So we're going to build our wall and divide by 4.2. And so what I'd like you to do is pause and use your calculator. And the answer is x equals 20. So please try number 2 on your own and then look back and see if you agree with the answer. The answer to number 2 is n equals 2. So both in 1 and 2, what we did is we found the value for the variable that would make both ratios equivalent. Next, we're asked if the following ratios are proportional. So we're given two ratios, they are using an equal sign, but we're actually not sure if they are actually equal. If, when we cross multiply, both of the products are the same, then that's how we know that they are form a proportion, if they actually are equivalent. So we're going to use our same butterfly method to help us with this. So let's start with that. We're going to cross multiply 8 times 12.2. Then we're going to drop down our equal, and then we're going to cross multiply 5 times 20. So 8 times 12.5 equals 5 times 20. So 8 times 12 and 5/10 would be 100. And 5 times 20 would be 100. So yes, they are equal, which means yes, they are proportional. If these two sides would not have been the same answer, then they would not be equal, and it would be, no, they're not proportional. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to try the next example on your own. So in this example, after we cross multiply, we get two different products, and they are not equal. So no, the ratios are not proportional in this example. Would you please turn to the back side? And we're going to continue using the same thing, but we have to now set up the proportion. Number 5 says Isaac and his friends pitched 4 Trekker tents in 60 minutes on a camping site. How long will it take to pitch 5 tents? So the question that we're being asked is they want to know how long. So how long, we're looking for time, will it take to pitch 5 tents? And they give us, right from the beginning, they give us a ratio. It took them, they pitched 4 Trekker tents in 60 minutes. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to start setting up my ratio. They give me a ratio right off the bat. I'm going to write 4 tents in 60 minutes. And these labels are extremely important because now it tells me how I'm supposed to set up my next ratio. What I don't know is how long. So I'm going to use a variable. I'm going to let x represent the minutes, the number of minutes. So I'm going to use an X where there's the minutes. So I have to put it on bottom, even though they mentioned it first in the sentence. I have to put it on bottom because it's the minutes. And the other number they give me refers to tenths. So now I know my proportion is set up correctly. Even though, once again, they listed the minutes first here and then the tenths, I always have to use, if I start with tenths on top on the first ratio, this has to be referring to tenths. And if the minutes are on bottom on my first ratio, the minutes have to be on bottom on the second ratio. So now that we have this proportion, we're going to cross multiply. So we're going to take 4 times x rather, 4 times x, and then 60 times 5. And that's going to give us 4x equals 300. And then we're going to divide both sides by 4. And we're going to get x equals 75. Now, the very last thing we have to do, and we're working with a word problem, is we're going to answer the question. And what they ask us is how long will they take to pitch 5/10? I also know that x represents my minutes, so x, this is talking about minutes. And again, in my proportion, if I look, I've labeled minutes. So there's 3 ways for me to tell what the meaning of this answer. Go back to the original word problem, look at what you defined your variable as, or if you look, you have your labels. So it will take, we're going to write this, it will take 75 minutes. And this next part's important, to pitch 5/10. So we want to acknowledge the time compared to what the other thing is that they mentioned, which is tenths. So it will take 75 minutes to pitch 5/10. Would you please now try number 6 on your own? And then check back for the answer. All right, before you move on, and let's go ahead and check the setup. It says we're given 216 recipes in 36 weeks. So that's the order that I set this up in. Next, they asked me a question, how many recipes? So I had to have a variable, which you can choose a different variable, but I chose X to represent the number of recipes. And they went on to say 15 weeks. So I had to make sure, and you have to make sure that your recipes are on top, if that's how you set it up, in the beginning, and then the weeks are in bottom. So this setup is now the way we should set it up. Please make sure you solve this next. When we solve this, the answer is 90. And then once again, we have to go back and answer the question. We said, how many recipes did she upload in 15 weeks? Again, if you define your variable and write it, you know that you're referring to recipes, and also your label here. So Fiona posted 90 recipes in 15 weeks. Hope this review was helpful. Thank you.